profound honor to be the first president in history to attend the March for Life. We're here for a very simple reason: to defend the right of every child, born and unborn, to fulfill their God-given potential. For 47 years, Americans of all backgrounds have traveled from across the country to stand for life. And today, as President of the United States, I am truly proud to stand with you. I want to welcome tens of thousands. This is a tremendous turnout. Tens of thousands of high school and college students who took long bus rides to be here in our nation's capital. And to make you feel even better, there are tens of thousands of people outside that we passed on the way in. If anybody would like to give up their spot, we can work that out. You have a tremendous group of people outside, thousands and thousands wanting to get in. This is some great success. Young people are the heart of the March for Life, and it's your generation that is making America the pro-family, pro-life nation. The life movement is led by strong women, amazing faith leaders, and brave students who carry on the legacy of pioneers before us, who fought to raise the conscience of our nation and uphold the rights of our citizens. You embrace mothers with care and compassion. You are powered by prayer and motivated by pure, unselfish love.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
I started out our program today with that clip from the March for Life. That was last January. Historic. I was there with Father Pavone. We were right in the front. They had some of the pro-life leaders like right in the front there to see the president. And of course, Alveda King, who's part of our ministry, she was up on stage. If you saw it from the clip, look to the left. That was Alveda with her sunglasses on. But this was historic. And I showed you a clip. A lot of news media carried it. But that clip I showed you was from ABC News. And the reason why I deliberately chose that clip, of course, all the networks did cover it. But how many years? I've been going to the March for Life for almost 30 years. Almost 30 years I've been going. And never, ever, ever did the media cover the March for Life. But it was because the president came physically to the March for Life, they kind of got forced into it, so to speak. They had to cover it. So it was historic. First time ever. Well, again, thanks for tuning in. And of course, joining me this afternoon is Father Frank Pavone, our National Director. Father, welcome to the program.
Well, thanks. It's good to be here.
So now we have the most pro-life president. Tell our viewers, what was it like? You and I were standing there watching that speech live. And of course, you, like I, we've been coming to the March for Life for decades.
Yes,
I mean, what has happened in the past? George W. Bush, he called in to the March
and
for Life.
Ronald Reagan did too. I can still hear his voice getting on that phone. Nellie Gray, you know, and,
right.
And you know, all I could keep thinking of that day was how we would dream about that.
Exactly.
In those days, because I remember saying when Ronald Reagan was on the phone, when George H.W. and then George W. was on the phone. Of course, Clinton and Obama, they never called in.
No,
they
didn't
don't want anything
no.
to do with pro-life.
No.
But we would always be thinking back in those days. I remember thinking in the early years.
Imagine if the president
we would
actually came.
Well, yeah, we said, look, he's just down the street.
Right, you can see the White House.
Can't he come? Wouldn't that be amazing if he came? It was like literally when you say that a dream come true.
It really was.
This was literally that.
It was a dream come true.
Yeah.
And the energy, and it was really electrifying. It really was.
Well, it gives a clear message to the whole country of the status of the movement.
That's right.
Look how far this cause has come when the president deems it worthy of his time and attention to actually go there in person. And the thing that people have to understand about this is that this comes from the president's heart.
Right.
I mean, we have enough interaction with him and his administration and the people that know him and his family. I was just on the Skype call with Laura Trump. We were taping a prayer call, and we interact, with the people that are near him, right? And they say to us privately, and they also say publicly, that these things about abortion and the pro-life movement that the president says and does, this is from him. Exactly. I remember Mick Mulvaney, whom we also know. He was giving a talk at the Catholic Prayer Breakfast, and it was right after the State of the Union address a couple of years ago. And he said, the president, as you know, mentioned pro-life in his State of the Union. But I want to tell you something. When the speechwriters gave him the final speech, and he was going over it for the final time, he took out his pen and he went to the section about abortion. And he was writing on the margin. He was adding, not subtracting, adding, not making it weaker, making it stronger. And in that third debate with Hillary Clinton back 4 years ago, when he talked about ripping the baby from the womb, that might be all right with you, but it's not all right with me.
That was classic.
That was from his heart,
right?
That was not in the debate. Yeah,
the president is horrified at the thought. You mean, I can remember some of the people who worked, like Kellyanne Conway at the time, telling us when from before he was elected and then when he was elected, the inner circle there, people were trying to make him aware. President, you don't have to know how bad abortion is in our country. And when they told him that, he was horrified.
No, he's horrified because he's a genuine human being.
Right.
He connects with people. This is why we hear at these rallies, "We love you. We love you."
You.
That's new.
That's
new in American politics. No, but really, it comes from his heart. I mean, that wasn't a line in that debate that was set up in the debate prep.
No, it was not.
That came from his heart.
It just came out of him because they had been educating him during the campaign to say, well, it does happen through all nine. And look, we have proof. Look at the pro-life movement. Look at the evidence. Here are the states that do late-term abortion. Here's the name of the doctors.
See, here's the hypocrisy of the Democrats. They'll say, oh, well, it's not happening in the 9th month of pregnancy. Well, okay, so show me the bill you're willing to sign and vote for that says it may not happen in the 9th month.
They won't do that.
They won't do it.
No.
Show me the law you're willing to support that says it's against the law to do it in the 9th month. They won't do it. See, that's the point.
Well, the other thing,
they're lawmakers, supposed to be lawmakers.
They won't even bring out of committee Nancy Pelosi and her cohort. They will not even bring out of committee the Born Alive bill that's sitting there that they're holding on to.
Protecting the babies who are born alive.
Born alive.
Right.
Like,
sometimes that happens.
Sometimes it happens. And what happens now? They let them die. Or like Herman Gossell did, he snapped their spines.
Killed them. Yeah.
He killed them.
No, it happens. It happens. We have the eyewitnesses. We have CDC reports that the state of Florida and various other states report it. It actually does happen.
It does happen.
So,
well, I want to remind our viewers that we will take your questions during this show. So if you have a question for Father Frank or Janet, just send it on in and we'll answer it. But I thought, Father, let's go down memory lane just for a minute. A little bit about, I know you had done this whole thing, which I love, the 10 reasons, pro-life accomplishments.
10 only as a way of summarizing it. Each of these points of these points is like a table of contents that has a lot of other specific things with it.
Well, the first most important thing that we just mentioned was that President Trump, what he did for the pro-life movement, his greatest service was keeping Hillary Clinton out of the White House.
If he had done nothing else, there is good enough.
Well, because why? If Hillary had gotten in, first of all, the HHS mandate would have been enforced and came down on Priests for Life and all these little sisters never realized like a hammer. Plus, I think she would have expanded abortion like beyond belief. Planned Parenthood probably would have been part of the Department of HHS and so on and so on. So thanks be to God, that he kept her out of the White House.
She was a big and is a big advocate, not just believing in legal abortion, but an apostle of it.
That's right. And of course, number 2, he fulfilled his campaign pledge and he appointed not 1, not 2, but now 3.
It's time to update this. It's time for us to put, a lot of presidents don't get a chance even to put 1 on the court.
This is historic.
You look at the 8 years of Obama. In 8 years, he got to put 2 on.
Right.
George W., the same thing. In 8 years, he got to put 2. Same thing with Clinton. But this president,
in 4 years,
in 1 term, he puts 3. It makes their hands spin off.
He puts Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and now, just in a little while tonight, the Senate will vote on Amy Coney Barrett.
This is another dream come true. Literally, I remember back in when Brett Kavanaugh was being confirmed. we were thinking ahead. So, okay, well, who would be next? You know,
Right.
and everybody said, listen, nobody can predict the future, but we knew Ruth Bader Ginsburg was the oldest member of the court, and
That's
she was
right.
frail. And here was we talked about this as the dream scenario. The dream scenario would be Amy Coney Barrett replaces Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I know. We were
that's
talking
like
about
taking
that.
the needle, right? And it's all the way over here to the left, and you shoot like this, all
Right.
the way. Literally a dream come true. And here it is today. Today, it's a
Right.
reality.
And I remember, Father, that one of our friends gave you
Gary Marks.
Gary Marks gave you this hat. Make the courts great again.
Isn't that great?
Isn't this great?
Make
the
the court
courts
great
great
again.
again. And oh my goodness, it's like not one, not two, but three.
And just in his first term.
Just in his first term.
I mean, you know.
And I was just talking about this with one of our staff earlier before coming to the studio. And I said, can you imagine 4 more years? Now, there are still, there's another one that's Souter.
Justice Breyer. You mean Breyer?
Breyer,
Yeah.
Breyer.
He's the oldest member
He's the
now
oldest.
of the court.
He's well into his 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And,
you know.
well, and Souter, I think, is 81.
Not Souter.
No? Oh,
No,
you
you're
want
talking
me-
about, you're
Yeah.
thinking of.
I'm thinking of the other one. But Breyer's in his 80s. So there's a chance that in another 4 years, we could have one more.
That's right.
And you know what I said to that person? I said, you know what? If that would have happened, then I've done my job. Because that
the court
one
is set for a long time.
For a
That's
long
right.
term.
He gets a young
decades.
person in there to replace Breyer. And
It would
that's
be
why
set.
I said it at the March for Life this January, the same March for Life where the president was speaking. I said, folks, we win this election of 2020, and we could, within a few years, have a 7-2 pro-life majority
That's
on the
it.
Supreme Court. Now we're 6-3 now.
We're 6-3.
One more, is
One
7-2. One more, provided
Provided.
it's President Trump at the helm
Right.
and a Republican Senate. See, now,
That's
if you
why
have-
the election's so important.
let's say you had President Trump in the White House and the Senate went over to the Democrats. What would happen there is that the Democrats would stall on the nominees. They would delay. They would have
right.
the power, more power than they have now to really delay or just refuse to vote on these nominees. And not only that, but even if they were going to, proceed and vote and do their duty under the Constitution, what happens when you don't have the Senate is that you can't garner enough votes for a really strong. Now you're talking about a spectrum. How strongly conservative do you want them to be?
Right.
And the question then becomes, pressure is put then on the White House to choose a less strong candidate. That's the game that starts being played.
Right.
Not even when you not only when you have the Democrats controlling the Senate, but even if we had not gained those extra 2 Senate seats in 2018 in the midterms, he might not have been able to, get as strong a person as Amy in there, because then, you got those two.
Oh, yes.
Those 2 senators,
Murkowski and
and Collins, who
yes.
they can be iffy sometimes on these votes. But overall, they've been pretty good.
Well, I have to say for Susan Collins, she's up for re-election.
Yes, she is.
But she did the job for us.
Oh, with Kavanaugh.
With Kavanaugh,
absolutely.
she saved the day.
We're very
she
grateful
saved the
for
day.
that.
We're very
Yeah.
grateful for Susan Collins. So I do pray that she is reelected.
Well,
We
for the
need
sake
her
of
seat,
keeping the Republican
for
majority.
keeping the
yes.
Republican majority.
Not even
and
if it's just for her sake, but
No,
the sake of the
for
majority.
the sake of the whole majority.
Yeah.
And Murkowski, from what I hear, rumors are
Yeah,
saying
she said she's going to.
she's going to vote yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to get Murkowski.
Well,
to
it's
vote too.
ridiculous to insinuate that this judge is not qualified. I mean,
That's
that's a.
Well, the Democrats couldn't find anything wrong with her qualifications, so they did a whole circus having to do with the Affordable Care Act. We have a
Rosemary
question?
needs a little education here, Jen.
Oh, what's the question? Go ahead and read it. Father.
Rosemary. Well, I'm glad you're watching, but listen, how can you say he's pro-life?
Oh, my
Well,
goodness.
Because he is.
Uh-huh.
He has no feelings for the children he has separated from their parents. How do you know that? When's the last time you sat down with the president? He has no feelings? Look, children separated from their parents. We're talking here about a policy which he reversed, by the way. But let's take a step back.
Well, first of all, let's step back to they accuse him about these cages at the border.
Which Obama built.
Obama built those cages.
Yeah, but they're fences. I mean,
They're
you
fences,
go to
they're
a
not
school,
cages.
go to the local school playground,
And there's fences.
and there's fences around it. You call
Right.
that a cage?
No.
See, it's a twisting. It's a mental twisting. You want to call the playground? Hey, Janet, I drove by the elementary, nursery school. I drove by. There was
And there's
little
a
kids in
fence.
cages over there, and you said, "What do
When
you mean?"
I went to pick up my granddaughter in California when I was out there visiting Vivian from pre-K, there was a fence around the whole play yard.
Yeah.
She wasn't in a
the
cage.
president. It's not that he does. This is a rash judgment.
Rash judgment.
He doesn't have feelings. He's not pro-life. Does he have feelings? Well, first of all, even if that were true, which is not, he's not cutting their heads off.
Right.
The Democrats are cutting their heads. You want to talk about having feelings for children? Ask the Democrats why they're decapitating children.
Right.
We're talking about abortion, and decapitation is not my word. It's the word in the medical textbook for how abortions are done. You know very well, the black book that I have.
That's right.
Abortion
Warren
practice.
Hearn.
Now look, let's put this in context. He's trying to protect our country from people coming across the border
Illegally.
who are not only illegally, but who have violent intentions for our country, and who are taking kids across the border because they're engaged in human trafficking.
That's
they take
right.
women across the border,
And children.
children, drug cartels.
Mhm.
Now, we know there's a lot of good people that come across the border, and so does he. He's not anti-immigrant. He's not anti-Mexican.
Nope.
He's not anti-children. But here's the problem. Why are these children coming across in the first place? It's like a parent saying, let's imagine two parents, right, and a child in their house. Honey, what do you say we go rob the bank? Hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's
Let's
bring
take
little
the kids-
Jimmy with us.
Yeah, this way,
Yeah. no, So little Jimmy's going to come with you in the backseat of the car when you go rob the bank. What do you think is going to happen when you get arrested?
Little Jimmy is
Little
gonna
Jimmy's
go
going to go home or in the custody of the police,
Right.
and you're going to go to jail.
That's right.
What are these parents thinking? It's not President Trump.
No.
It's the parents. What are they thinking?
They put the child in jeopardy by doing what
you
they're
go
doing.
do an illegal,
Right.
or a lot of these children are coming across unaccompanied too.
That's right.
It's like, hey, again, I think of the two parents sitting at home. Hey, honey, where's Jimmy? He's wandering into the next country.
Right.
How in the world what kind of people do this? Okay, so
And first of all, too, Father, the numbers have gone way down. If you
Oh,
notice,
yes.
you don't see the caravans crashing at the border. Number
Well.
one, and we have actually have good friends who now work for the Department of Homeland Security.
and one of our volunteers here was a Border Patrol agent.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they told us, first of all, that you got invited and me to come to the border and see how
I'm
things
gonna
are.
go down.
But with
there.
COVID, we couldn't
I
make
was
that
about to go
trip.
down
We were
there, but
about to go down
I'm gonna
there.
go down there.
And
Yeah.
he said, you'll see, the operation is good.
Yeah.
It's respectful. It's clean.
Well, you have to keep the children somewhere. See, the rule is this: it's within 72 hours. If children are apprehended at the border, first of all, a lot of them are unaccompanied. Otherwise, they might be with their parents. The Trump administration was trying to sort all this out and to say, look, we're not going to tolerate breaking the law. Okay. And the
Right.
Catholic Catechism says these immigrants have to obey the law. But the point of the fact is that, you have to keep them safe. What are you going to do? You have children coming across the border. You're going to let them loose in the streets of El Paso, Texas, or you're
Right.
going to keep them there. Well, you got to keep them secure somehow. And then it's a 72-hour period, and then they go under the care of the HHS, and they take it from there to find out, where do these kids belong. But the separation was only happening for a short while, and then it was President Trump and reversed it
Right.
and said, no, we got to keep the families together. But they're trying to figure. I would like any one of these people that complains about this to be in that position. Go ahead, go get elected to the presidency and figure out the problem and see if you can come up with some better
Well, or
solution.
you know what? Instead of paying attention to what you hear sound bites on the news, why don't you make a trip down there and see for yourself?
Yeah, no, I
'Cause
mean,
it's
this
not
this
as bad as you
look,
make
this
it
is a
sound.
Democrat talking point.
Of
Oh,
course
he's
it
not
is.
pro-life because he separates his right. How about ripping the arms and legs off these
Right.
kids? The Democrats have got to answer for that.
Okay, and here's another pro-life accomplishment
Okay.
is he deprived the abortion industry of billions of dollars. He signed legislation to permit the states to defund Planned Parenthood. So which is actually what our founding fathers wanted our government to do, less at the federal level, more at the state level. So he said to the states, you know what, guys, you want to defund Planned Parenthood? Go right ahead. So he did that. He also issued an executive order to give states the option to withhold Medicaid and other federal money from organizations that perform abortions, including Planned Parenthood.
That's right.
Bravo, President. Bravo.
Yeah, you see the funding of Planned Parenthood, the funding or the defunding, a lot of times our pro-life people think of
They
this
don't understand
in
it,
very
yeah.
simplistic terms, as if it's one faucet.
It's a
that
lot
you
of
turn on.
faucets.
No, it's a whole room, yeah, of different
like
pipes
pipes.
coming from different directions
Right.
under the control of different people. There's
Exactly.
certain funding that the president can stop
And that's
by
what he's
executive
done.
authority, and he has done
He's
that.
turned off every faucet that
That's
he has
under
access
his
to.
control, right?
Exactly.
He's not like some of these left-wing critics say. He's not a dictator.
Right.
He understands the structures and limits of his authority. And so when it comes to the rest of the funding that needs to be turned off, the big faucet, it takes two hands to turn it, the big Medicaid funding through Congress. Congress has to act. So what does President Trump do? He's constantly calling on Congress.
Give me a bill.
To
Please,
send them a
give it to
bill.
me. Come
That's
on,
the
give me
way
a
the
bill.
government works.
And see, that's why this election is so important.
That's
Father.
right.
Not only do we have to reelect President Trump, we have to increase the Senate and get back control of the House. And guess what? Then we can get the job done.
Yeah, but we can do it. See, this is the beautiful thing.
We
People
can.
don't realize we can do it. We have a week to do it now.
That's
Get
right.
the House back into Republican pro-life hands. You want to see Planned Parenthood defunded? We need a pro-life House of Representatives. It's not all up to President Trump. He already said he'll sign the bill. He said he'll sign the bill.
That's right.
So,
okay, here's another thing, Father. President Trump implemented the Protect Life rule, a rule by the Department of HHS, Health and Human Services, to cut taxpayer funding under Title X program for any facility that performs abortion or refers clients to them, such as Planned Parenthood.
$60 million got diverted from Planned Parenthood.
Right out.
And they dropped out of the program. Planned Parenthood did.
Yeah.
Because the president said, hey, again, the president didn't make the law. The law already says, this is back from 1970, the Title X program for family planning funding should not go for abortions. That's in the law. President is just there to enforce the law.
That's right.
Like we learned in grade school, right? Congress makes the law, Article 1 of the
President
Constitution.
enforces
The
it.
president enforces the law, Article 2 of the Constitution. So, and he did it. He did it. And so,
And
not
of
even
course-
George W. Bush did that.
Right. And then, of course, he also went beyond George W. Bush. Okay. He did reinstate but the Mexico City policy like Bush did, but he expanded
He expanded it to cover more government agencies. In other words, no money for groups that perform or promote abortion overseas.
That's right.
And the previous version of Mexico City was only covering a segment of government agency. Now it covers right across the board. So that protects 8.8, not million, but $1 billion of money from going to the abortion industry. It's amazing.
That's great. Okay. And then finally, there's another thing. The Trump administration, through again the Department of HHS, issued a rule requiring that insurers specify to their customers whether the plan they are buying covers abortion. The administration also requested input on how to better enforce the limited abortion provisions contained in Obamacare.
You notice a pattern here? The president recently has been talking about price transparency.
Right.
And surprise medical billing.
That's
you
right.
listen to his speeches, you hear him say this. He's already put the price transparency thing into effect, but it kicks in January. See, that's the thing. All these government things, policies, programs, executive orders, legislation, they all have timelines attached to them. And sometimes, these things, they'll get signed or they'll get passed, or the order will be given, but they won't kick in for months and months in advance because there's so much administrative work that has to happen in preparation.
In preparation, right.
But I see a pattern here. No surprise medical billing, price transparency. If your insurance company provides coverage for abortion, you ought to know about it before you buy that plan.
That's right.
You ought to know. Why shouldn't you know about it? He's very much in favor. This is the most transparent president we've ever had. And that's why the tweets, I happen to like the tweets. Not everybody likes the tweets.
I know you like the tweets.
But you see, the thing about the tweets is what your president is thinking and feeling is no longer behind 15 layers of bureaucratic walls.
Right.
You're wondering, he's look, what you see is what you get. Here I am. I'm your president.
Now, here's another important thing he did, Father. Yeah. The president also created a new office in the federal government for conscience and religious freedom so that people who, for example, are being forced to participate in abortion can have their rights vindicated more effectively.
I'll tell
Now,
you.
this is very important, especially for students in medical schools, as you know.
That's right.
A lot of medical schools force these interns and people who do internships to either perform or watch during abortion procedures.
Our friends, the nurses for life.
That's
you
right.
know,
And this here, the president's saying, no. You don't have to violate your conscience. We
That's
have a department here. You tell them, complaint, and they're going to back you up.
you see, and again, the president doesn't write the law. He enforces the law.
Right.
There are laws already on the books
That say this.
protecting conscience rights.
Mhm.
Now, here's the problem. If a person felt like the law was being violated and their right to conscience, like not to participate in an abortion, was being violated, what are they
What are they
doing?
going to do?
What are they doing?
Who do they turn to?
Now, there is an Office of Civil Rights
Mhm.
underneath the Department of HHS. Department of HHS is very important for the pro-life movement. Okay, and President Trump has put all kinds of pro-life people in that department.
I know.
People we've worked side by side within the movement.
Exactly.
Now at HHS.
And now we're there. It's
So
great.
in any case, and God bless them, maybe some of them are even watching. But the point is this: there is a Department of Civil Rights, an Office of Civil Rights. But what was happening, Janet, was over all the years of the Obama administration, 8 years, the total number of complaints that were sent to that office from people who said my rights are being violated, you know how many? 10.
10.
Over like one a year, basically, plus 2, right? 10 complaints over 8 years. President Trump put under that office this Division for Conscience and Civil Rights
Right.
and said, we want to actually protect your conscience. This is actions, not just words. So when you feel like someone's forcing you to perform an abortion that you don't want to perform, you let us know. You let us know. Or various, that's just one example, various other violations of
freedom,
conscience.
right.
You know what happened? He opened that office, and in the year 2018 alone, 1,300 complaints
Wow.
came flowing into that office.
Yeah.
And the agency has taken action
That's right.
against medical institutions,
Right.
against the whole state of California.
It was like these people finally backed up.
Yes.
Because see, before, I think when people, we used to get these complaints from pro-lifers.
we
all
would
the
get
time.
them.
We would get
They
them.
didn't know where to turn.
What do we do? And when you would send it up to the Obama-controlled HHS,
forget
it was like deaf ears.
Deaf
Like,
ears.
huh?
They don't
What?
even,
Huh?
yeah.
But now,
Obama
because
Biden, we should say.
Obama
The
Biden,
Obama Biden administration.
Obama Biden administration,
Or the Biden. I like President Trump. It's the Biden administration.
and of course, we know the other important thing he did, which directly affects us, not just the Little Sisters, but us, is that he relieved us of the HHS.
That's right. He gave us the exemption we were asking for.
Exactly.
We said, look, if we have a religious exemption, because here was the weird thing. I could go preach in a parish on a Sunday like I do, with
Right.
our traveling and our mission. And that parish church was exempt from this mandate. This mandate is about providing coverage for certain forms of abortion in our health insurance plans. The parish church was exempt, but the ministry that I lead, that you and I lead, that brought me in to preach at the same parish, and we
Was
share
not.
the same faith and religious beliefs, we're not. Why? Not because of the religious belief, but because of the tax code. It was based on, these exemptions were based on the tax structure.
Right.
And President Trump said, no. Religious freedom is a human right. Conscience is sacred. So it shouldn't be based on a tax structure. It should be based on the fact that the person has an objection.
Right.
So in any case, well,
And of course, Biden has said on day one, he will reverse that. And he says, and therefore the Little Sisters and all those other groups, you'll be under the mandate. He's
and in fact,
promised
almost
that.
and every employer in America. too.
Exactly.
See, that's why I don't understand how Catholics can support this guy
I
or
don't
any
know.
religious people.
No.
Do they know? I'm a Catholic. Biden's a Catholic, so I'm going to vote for him. Yeah, you're going to vote for a Catholic who wants to destroy and close the Catholic Church.
Right.
Was that what your idea?
And
of a
it was in
Catholic is?
favor of abortion through all 9 months up to birth.
It's crazy, Janet.
It's
It's absolutely
crazy.
crazy. These
It's
people
insane.
is that they don't know,
I
or
don't know.
they don't care? Because
I
he
don't
certainly
know.
doesn't. He knows,
That's right.
but he doesn't care.
Exactly. Well, we only
All
have
right.
a week
Well,
left. It's
a week
get out the
left.
vote.
I'm going to go get on the phone now with the campaign itself
Okay,
for an
that's
update
great.
call.
And of course, we just want to remind you, we all have to be praying for our president. So I just want to remind you, we still have some of these in stock. And we're all going to wear this on election day here at
All
Priest for
right,
Life. It's Pray for 45.
that's a nice one.
Yep. If you want to get one and wear it on election day like us, just go to prolifeproducts.org. We'll get them out to you right away. Again, prolifeproducts.org. Praying for our president, praying for a great result in the election. And you're going to want to tune in tomorrow because I'm going to have Robert Muse. He's our general counsel here at Priest for Life. And he's going to talk about the Amy Coney Barrett, because they went to school together. And also he's going to tell us all this nonsense about the Affordable Care Act going to the Supreme Court and what it really means. So stay tuned. Talk to you later. This is Janet Morena of Priest for Life. God bless.